Hello there. Welcome to Mind, Body, and Wallet. Today we will talk about Outlive by Peter Attia, Part 2, Chapter 9, Chasing Memory. All right, folks, get ready to have your minds blown, because in this chapter, we're tackling the most feared of the four horsemen, Alzheimer's disease and other brain-related issues. Dr. Attia kicks it off with a story about a patient named Stephanie who discovered she had a high genetic risk for Alzheimer's. It's a scary diagnosis, but Dr. Attia believes knowledge is power. By understanding our risks, we can take proactive steps to protect our brains. Alzheimer's is a complex disease, and we're still learning a lot about it. For years, scientists focused on the amyloid hypothesis, which suggests that amyloid plaques in the brain are the main cause of Alzheimer's. But this theory hasn't led to any effective treatments. So, what's the real culprit? Dr. Attia explores alternative theories, like the idea that Alzheimer's is primarily a vascular disorder caused by reduced blood flow to the brain. He also discusses the role of glucose metabolism and how insulin resistance can increase the risk of Alzheimer's. There's a lot more to it than just amyloid plaques, but here's the good news. We can do a lot to protect our brains. Exercise, a healthy diet, good sleep, and stress management all play a role in preventing cognitive decline. Dr. Attia even talks about the potential benefits of flossing and saunas for brain health. Who knew? Now let's talk about genes. You might have heard of the APOE gene, which comes in different versions. Some versions increase your risk of Alzheimer's, while others protect you. Dr. Attia explains how this gene works and what it means for your brain health. But don't worry if you have a bad version of the APOE gene. It's not a death sentence. There are things you can do to mitigate your risk, and that's what Dr. Attia focuses on. He emphasizes the importance of early intervention and prevention, and how we can use lifestyle changes to protect our brains as we age. Chapter 10. Thinking Tactically. In this chapter, Dr. Attia shifts gears and talks about how to put all this knowledge into action. He compares our health journey to navigating a ship through an ice field. We need to be aware of the risks, make course corrections, and have a long-term plan. He introduces the concept of the centenarian decathlon, which is a framework for thinking about the physical tasks we want to be able to do in our later years. It's not about becoming an Olympic athlete, but about maintaining our functional fitness so we can enjoy life to the fullest as we age. Dr. Attia also emphasizes the importance of data and feedback in tracking our progress and making adjustments to our plan as needed. It's not about following a one-size-fits-all approach, but about finding what works best for you as an individual. He also talks about the importance of mindset. We need to shift our thinking from just trying to live longer to actually living better. It's about making choices that will improve our health span, not just our lifespan. Chapter 11. Exercise, the most powerful longevity drug. Get ready to get moving, because this chapter is all about exercise. Dr. Attia calls it the most potent longevity drug we have, and the research backs him up. Studies have shown that regular exercise can add years to your life and significantly improve your health span. But it's not just about hitting the gym. Dr. Attia breaks down the different types of exercise and explains how they impact our bodies. He talks about aerobic fitness, strength training, and stability, and how each of these plays a role in longevity. He also introduces the concept of Zone 2 training, a type of moderate-intensity exercise that's particularly beneficial for mitochondrial health and metabolic flexibility. It's not about pushing yourself to the limit, but about finding a sustainable pace that you can maintain over time. Dr. Attia shares inspiring stories of older athletes who are still crushing it in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s. It's a reminder that age is just a number and that we can maintain our physical function and vitality well into our later years. Chapter 12. Training 1-1-1. How to prepare for the centenarian decathlon. In this chapter, Dr. Attia gets into the nitty-gritty of exercise training. He explains how to prepare for the centenarian decathlon, focusing on 4 key areas: aerobic efficiency, maximum aerobic output, VO2 max, strength, and stability. He provides practical tips on how to train in each of these areas, emphasizing the importance of finding activities you enjoy and that fit into your lifestyle. He also stresses the importance of listening to your body and avoiding injury. Dr. Attia shares his own training routine and how he uses data and feedback to track his progress and make adjustments. He encourages us to think of ourselves as athletes of life, training not for a specific event, but for a long and healthy life. Chapter 13. The Gospel of Stability, Relearning How to Move to Prevent Injury. This chapter is all about stability, which Dr. Attia describes as the foundation of all movement. He explains how poor stability can lead to injuries and how we can retrain our bodies to move more efficiently and safely. He starts with the basics, like breathing and footwork, and then moves on to more complex movements like squats and deadlifts. He emphasizes the importance of proper form and technique and how even small adjustments can make a big difference in our long-term health. Dr. Attia shares his own experience of working with a movement specialist to correct his own imbalances and improve his stability. He also provides practical tips and exercises that we can all do to improve our stability and reduce our risk of injury. Chapter 14. Nutrition 3.0. You say potato, I say nutritional biochemistry. Get ready to rethink everything you thought you knew about nutrition. In this chapter, Dr. Attia dives into the complex world of nutritional biochemistry, explaining how the food we eat interacts with our bodies at a molecular level. He challenges the idea that there's one perfect diet for everyone, arguing that we need to personalize our nutrition based on our individual needs and goals. He also criticizes the oversimplified good versus bad food labels and encourages us to think about food in terms of its nutritional value and how it impacts our metabolism. Dr. Attia discusses the limitations of nutrition research and the importance of understanding the difference between correlation and causation. He also shares his own experience with different diets, including a ketogenic diet, and how he's evolved his thinking over time. Chapter 15. Putting nutritional biochemistry into practice, how to find the right eating pattern for you. In this chapter, Dr. Attia gets practical, providing a framework for finding the right eating pattern for you. He discusses 3 main strategies for reducing calorie intake: caloric restriction, dietary restriction, and time restriction, intermittent fasting. He explains the pros and cons of each approach and emphasizes the importance of finding a sustainable plan that works for your individual needs and preferences. He also stresses the importance of protein and fat in our diet, especially as we age, and how to ensure we're getting enough. Dr. Attia also delves into the world of fats, explaining the different types and how they impact our health. He provides guidance on how to optimize our fat intake for longevity and overall well-being. He also discusses the use of continuous glucose monitoring, CGM, as a tool to understand how our bodies respond to different foods and eating patterns. Chapter 16. The Awakening. How to Learn to Love. Sleep, the best medicine for your brain. Get ready to hit the snooze button, because this chapter is all about sleep. Dr. Attia shares his own struggles with sleep deprivation during his medical training and how he eventually learned to prioritize sleep. He explains why sleep is so crucial for our physical and mental health and how it impacts everything from our metabolism to our cognitive function. He also discusses the different stages of sleep and how they contribute to our overall well-being. Dr. Attia debunks common myths about sleep, like the idea that we can function just fine on 5 or 6 hours of sleep. He also provides practical tips on how to improve our sleep quality, from creating a sleep-conducive environment to managing stress and anxiety. He even discusses the potential dangers of sleep medications and offers safer alternatives. Chapter 17. Work in Progress: The High Price of Ignoring Emotional Health. In this deeply personal chapter, Dr. Attia opens up about his own struggles with emotional health and how it impacted his life and relationships. He shares his journey of seeking help and learning to manage his emotions through therapy and other tools. He emphasizes the importance of emotional health for longevity, arguing that it's just as important as physical health. He discusses the link between emotional well-being and physical health, and how chronic stress and emotional turmoil can lead to a host of health problems. Dr. Attia shares the tools and strategies he's learned to manage his emotions and improve his relationships, including mindfulness, reframing, and opposite action. He encourages us to prioritize our emotional health and seek help if needed, emphasizing that it's a journey of continuous learning and growth. Chapter 18. The Runaway Cell: New Ways to Address the Killer, that is cancer. Now, let's talk about another exciting development in cancer treatment: adoptive cell therapy, or ACT. This is where doctors take your own immune cells, specifically T cells, and supercharge them in the lab to recognize and attack your cancer cells. It's like giving your immune system a personalized army to fight your specific cancer. This is still a developing field, but it's showing a lot of promise, especially for hard-to-treat cancers. But what about preventing cancer in the first place? That's where early detection comes in. Dr. Attia is a big advocate for early and aggressive cancer screening. He believes that catching cancer early is our best shot at beating it. He discusses different screening methods like colonoscopies, mammograms, and even new blood tests that can detect cancer DNA. The bottom line is that we're making progress in the war on cancer. We have new treatments like immunotherapy and better screening methods that are saving lives. But we still have a long way to go. By focusing on prevention, early detection, and innovative treatments, we can continue to make strides in the fight against cancer. Chapter 19. Chasing Memory: Understanding Alzheimer's Disease and Other Neurodegenerative Diseases. Now, we're diving into the world of brain health and Alzheimer's disease. Dr. Attia shares a story about a patient who discovered she had a high genetic risk for Alzheimer's. It's a scary diagnosis, but Dr. Attia emphasizes that it's not a death sentence. There are things we can do to protect our brains and reduce our risk. For years, scientists focused on the amyloid hypothesis, which suggests that amyloid plaques in the brain are the main cause of Alzheimer's. But this theory hasn't led to any effective treatments. So, what's really going on? Dr. Attia explores alternative theories, like the idea that Alzheimer's is primarily a vascular disorder caused by reduced blood flow to the brain. He also discusses the role of glucose metabolism and how insulin resistance can increase the risk of Alzheimer's. But here's the good news. We can do a lot to protect our brains. Exercise, a healthy diet, good sleep, and stress management all play a role in preventing cognitive decline. Dr. Attia even talks about the potential benefits of flossing and saunas for brain health. He also discusses the importance of early detection and how cognitive tests can help identify early signs of decline. He emphasizes that it's never too early to start taking care of our brains and that we can take proactive steps to maintain our cognitive function as we age. That is the summary of Outlive by Peter Attia. Hope you enjoy this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe.